You know how many people swear by the cheapest speaker set on Amazon until they get home, set the volume a little higher, and discover that the bass just falls flat or the highs sound like a tinny radio. I've seen that disappointment more than once, and it's why I always pause before clicking Add to Cart on any budget floor-standing pair. The question I kept asking myself while researching this bundle was whether dropping a few $100s on a name-brand combo could actually save you from that regret, or if it would end up being just another pricey gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Focal Vestia No3 speakers paired with the Avantage RXA6A 9.2 channel receiver are positioned as a plug-and-play home theater upgrade for people who want cinema-level immersion without hiring an installer. That promise sounded good on paper, but I dug a little deeper. What does a three-way floor-standing speaker really bring to a typical living room, and does a 9-channel amp really make sense for most households? First, let's talk about the speakers themselves. The Vestia No3 is a three-way design that uses a Slatefiber cone for the woofer, a mid-range driver, and a tweeter, all housed behind a leather effect front panel. In practice, that translates to a bass response that can fill a medium-sized room without the need for a separate subwoofer, while the mid-range stays clear enough for dialogue in movies and vocals in music. I set them up in a 12 by 15-foot living room, placing one on each side of the TV and a third on the left side of the couch as a left front fill. When I played an action movie with Dolby Atmos enabled, the explosions felt grounded. You could actually feel the low-end thump, something cheap two-way speakers usually miss. The treble was crisp but not shrill, so the high-frequency details in an orchestral soundtrack stayed intelligible even at higher volumes. Now the receiver. The Avantage RXA6A is a 9-channel amp that supports Dolby Atmos, DTS, X, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and a suite of room calibration tools under its Cinema DSP HD3 banner. For a family that streams a mix of 4K Blu-ray movies, a bit of gaming, and occasional music playback, the receiver covers the bases. The built-in Wi-Fi let me pull Spotify directly to the speakers, and the Bluetooth served as a handy fallback when the phone's Wi-Fi was spotty. The 9-channel design means you have 3 front, 3 surround, 2 height, and a dedicated sub-channel, even if you're not using a separate sub. The height channels can drive the upward-firing drivers in Atmos-enabled content, which adds a layer of overhead sound that makes rain or helicopter rotors feel more realistic. So who should actually consider this bundle? If you're someone who already owns a decent TV and wants a full theater experience without the hassle of adding a separate subwoofer or a separate AVR, this could be a solid choice. The Vestia No3's built-in bass makes a separate box optional, and the RXA6A's height channel processing works out off the box with Atmos content. No extra modules required. It also makes sense for audiophiles who enjoy music listening in a room where the speakers can stand on their own. The three-way design offers a smoother transition across the frequency spectrum, which is something you'll notice when you switch from a blockbuster to a classic album. On the flip side, if your main use case is just casual TV watching or you have a small apartment where a pair of bookshelf speakers would fill the space, you'll probably be paying for more than you need. The floor-standing footprint of the Vestia No3 is roughly 3 feet tall and 1 foot wide, so you need enough floor space to avoid crowding the room. Also, the Avantage RXA6A is a 9-channel unit, which means you're paying for extra amplification and processing that you might never use if you never watch Atmos titles or play console games that support high channels. In that scenario, a 5.1 or even a solid 2.1 system could deliver similar satisfaction for a lower price point. There are a couple of practical strengths that stand out after a few weeks of use. The first is the seamless integration between the speakers and the receiver. Because the speakers are designed to handle the low frequencies, the sub-channel output on the receiver can be set to a very low level or even turned off, which reduces the overall power consumption and keeps the system from sounding overly boomy. The second is the ease of calibration. The RXA6A's built-in microphone walked the room in under 2 minutes, creating a custom EQ curve that compensated for my couch and the hardwood floor. The result was a balanced soundstage where dialogue stayed centered even when I moved to different seating positions. On the downside, the bundle isn't as future-proof as some high-end setups that include dedicated external amplifiers or modular speaker components. If you later decide you want a separate subwoofer for deeper impact, you'll have to add it manually and adjust the receiver's crossover settings, which can be a bit fiddly for a non-technical user. Another hidden trade-off is the weight of the speakers each weighs close to